recording a league best 14 touchdown passes. Both were completing 70% of their passes, and they had the 2 best QBRs during this month. You can see there because the full screen says it, so it must be correct. Here's the question. Based on what you've seen so far from our quote-unquote Mr. Octobers, who would you take right now? Tom Brady, Peyton Manning? Joining us is our NFL analyst, Darren Woodson. All the pressure is on him.
It's obvious I would take Peyton Manning.
It is?
Oh, it's obvious.
Why?
I mean, why
is that so obvious?
Okay, well, let's
done.
just, yeah, exactly. Let's just move on. Listen, let's just look at who Tom Brady has around him. He has Brandon LaFell, he has Julian Edelman, and Gronk. That's who he has around him, his talent, and he does a great job with that. What limited talent. He lost Stephen Ridley for the season. He's gone, so the running game is not that spectacular. Look at what Manning has at his disposal. Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, Emmanuel Sanders, Julius Thomas.
Sure.
And then on the defensive side of the ball, Von Miller, DeMarcus. There's so many talented football players on that side of the field for Peyton Manning. So if I wanted to be a quarterback, if I was going to choose one, I would definitely go with Manning because I'm surrounded by talent. I think if you ask Tom Brady right now,
who would he be?
What situation would you rather be in? He's going to say, I would rather be in that situation with that talent.
That's not the question with situation. We're talking about who's playing at the higher level.
Well, I think right now, if you're looking at both teams, I would say, well, I don't think was the question posed to me that
who's the best right now?
Who's the best
Mr.
right now? I'm going to go with Manning right now. Yeah. I think the offense is chugging the way it's moving right now. He just broke a record. The confidence level is there, and again, he's surrounded by so much talent. I think right now, I would say Peyton Manning is playing better.
Skip Bayless, that could be his answer. Because what's wrong?
The truth is, Stephen, hang on one second. The truth is, you're really making a better case to take Tom Brady right now.
As far as who's playing better because he has limited talent?
Well, because they were left for dead on September 29th on Monday night at Kansas City, right?
Yes.
Right. Left for dead, 41-14 Chiefs, right?
Right.
And everybody said, that's it, he's washed up. Belichick has done him such a disservice because he's surrounded him with a bunch of garbage, basically. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, the offensive line kept vacillating from shambles to revolving door at best. Stephen Ridley, your best back, as you point out, is gone. Then the leader of the defense, Gerard Mayo, is gone. Mm-hmm. And your go-to receiver is Julian Edelman, and you start to phase him out through those 4 weeks of October, and you start to phase in Brandon LaFell, and you ease Gronkowski back in because you're trying to protect him and hope he doesn't re-injure his 17 different things that are wrong with his body. And slowly but surely he begins to catch passes, leading to a crescendo last week against Chicago for both LaFell and Gronk. But it took all the way to Chicago to do that. Listen, I'm a Brady fan. I admit it. I watch every game.
Exactly.
But listen, his accuracy has been even beyond Peyton's over the last 4 games. This past Sunday, he goes 30 for 35 with 4 drops, albeit against the sorry Bears defense. I get that. But I'm talking about deadly accuracy. And Stephen A. gave Florida State credit in the rankings for having to overcome distractions. Well, what about Tom Brady? He overcomes absurd distractions every week in personnel distractions because there's always some calamity happening around him. He is playing, and again, we're talking about 2 quarterbacks who aren't anywhere near done yet.
Yeah, correct.
Listen, at some point, they're going to vie for Joe Montana's mantle as greatest quarterback ever. We're talking about this is greatness on display here. But right now in October, I'm giving Tom Brady the slightest edge.
No rebut. Stephen A.
I got a rebuttal, but go ahead, Stephen A.
Stephen A. He's giving it to Tom Brady. Shocking. Who are you giving it to?
I got to agree with Skip on this one. I think you pick Peyton Manning if you're thinking about the weapons that he has at his disposal. I think if you're just thinking about the quarterbacks themselves, not taking anything away from the greatness of Peyton Manning, who is great, who Bill Belichick just said in his presser this morning, Peyton Manning is the best quarterback the greatest quarterback he's ever faced. The bottom line is that when you look at what Tom Brady is doing, it's been nothing short of sensational. I mean, Tim Wright, all of a sudden you're hearing about this guy more and more and more. Where did this guy come from? Kimbrel Tompkins is gone. You're looking at the Danny Amendolas. Every week he's injured. Rob Gronkowski, he's really elevating himself to another level. You just see Ridley, he's out. Now you got to lean on Vereen. Somewhere along the way, there's no consistency. There's no continuity. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason or whatever's going on. But somehow, some way, Tom Brady just shows up, annihilates Cincinnati, annihilates the Chicago Bears. I just look at these kind of things and I just say to myself, I got to give props where props is due. Because if Tom Brady were in Denver and he had Demaryius Thomas and Julius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders and Wes Walker at his disposal, with Ronnie Hillman running the football the way that he did, to the point where it appears as if he's taken Monty Ball's job, and he was supposed to have that once Sean Moreno left. I just think you look at all of those different things. Peyton Manning, nothing taking anything away from him, has a whole lot of weapons. Tom Brady seems to be making the weapons up as they go along.
And Stephen A., what did you call those 4 targets of Peyton's? The 4 horsemen, right?
The 4 horsemen. The 4 horsemen.
I like it. And
that's what I call them.
I'm not even sure. Well, I guess we could give Gronkowski 1 horseman maybe, but he doesn't have those others. There's no Demaryius in New England. No. There's no Emmanuel, and there's definitely no Wes Welker.
Mr. October is Peyton Manning for you, Darren. Why is that?
Well, I just think that Peyton, because of what they've accomplished in the month of October. I mean, I know there's been this whole thing about him breaking the record, and he finally got that, and that's finally passed them. There's just something about the way they move the ball right now. And when you turn on the film, they do it with ease. And again, ton of talent. And I think you're right. I think a part of it is right. Brady doesn't have enough talent. He doesn't have the same amount of talent. But Peyton Manning puts them in great situations. He finds a way to find the open guy. There's just something about the way they are operating. And I guess I'm looking at it as the big picture of what I have around me and where they're going, what direction these two teams are going. I think Peyton just had a great October. I mean, it's some of the things that he does, it just goes unaccounted for. We just say, oh, that's Peyton.
Right.
You know, he's just going to. There's so much he does within the scheme of that, running plays, whatever. He puts him in the right situation to score. But you're right. I think Brady, with the lack of talent that he has, he's getting the job done. He's moving the ball.
I can't remember. Did you play against either?
I played against both.
Both,
and they both torched us.
They torched you.
Yeah. I always said that, I played with Brett Favre and against Dan Marino and some of the greats. They are on the same level, if not better, than all the former quarterbacks.
And how did the ball come out of their hands to your eye, Peyton and Brady? What did it look like? Different?
Brady was a surgeon. I mean, he put the ball where it needed to be. You can have a guy fully covered. He's going to put it in the right spot. He's a guy that, understands where the defense is going to be. He attacks your weakness. You look at Manning. Manning is non-athletic, doesn't get around that much, doesn't move in the pocket. He basically manipulates the pocket in a small space, but he always puts them in the right situation. Even when you think you're right and you have the strength of your defense is in the right spot, he's going to find your weakness. Doesn't have to be precise with the football, but he knows exactly where to go with it.
And he's going to beat you to your weakness before you can react to it.
Great football player. Just one of the greats.
Darren Woodson hanging out with us. He'll be back a little later on in the show. Coming up next, though, we're going to New York City where Stephen A. Smith is. D. Rose and the Bulls head to